hit record. There we go. Okay. Good afternoon. It is Thursday, November 17th, 2022. And this is the zoning administrator hearing for the city of South San Francisco. My name is Adina Friedman, and I will be serving as the zoning administrator for this hearing. On today's agenda, we have one item, and I will ask the project planner to present their item in just a minute, and we will hear an overview of the project, after which we will open the public hearing and invite the applicant to present any additional information that you would like to present for the project. And if the applicant would like to present additional information, we just ask that you please state your name for the record. Then, after the applicant has the opportunity to present, any members of the public that wish to present may do so by selecting the raise hand feature in Zoom, and I will call on you. Once we have received public input, we will close the public hearing portion of the meeting. And once the public hearing is closed, this ends the public input for that item, and letters or testimony received up to that point will be part of the administrative record. The purpose of this meeting will be to gather information, receive public testimony, and ask questions about the project. I will render a preliminary decision at this hearing today, and a formal letter, including the decision, will be followed. Zoning administrator decisions are documented in a letter called a notice of action. There is a 15-day appeal period that starts from the date shown on the notice of action. If you have any questions about appeals, the appeals process, or the outcome of your hearing, please talk to your project planner, me, or the city clerk. Appeals that are not filed properly cannot be accepted. There is a nominal fee and paperwork that needs to be filed with the city clerk to file an appeal. Does anybody have any questions before we move on to the one item today? Nope. Okay, I'm not seeing any questions. So item number one is an application for a minor use permit at 1200 Douglas Way. And I'm going to read the title of the item, which is a report regarding consideration of a minor use permit and design review for a front, rear, and new second-story addition to an existing single-family dwelling unit and the construction of a fence greater than 4 feet in height at 1200 Douglas Way in the low-density residential zoning district in accordance with Title 20 of the South San Francisco Municipal Code and determination that the project is exempt from CEQA. And Stephanie Skangas is the project planner, and I will turn it over to her to give a presentation on this project.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Let me share my screen, and I want to make sure that it. And are you seeing the slideshow ready to play? Okay, perfect. Thank you. So as the zoning administrator mentioned, this project is for 1200 Douglas Way. Sorry. The project site is located at 1200 Douglas Way. It is a corner lot, approximately 5,800 square feet in size, and it's located at the corner of Douglas Way and Holly Avenue, so it has 2 street frontages. There's an existing 1,050 square foot, 1-story single family dwelling unit on the property with an attached 2-car garage. The existing garage is accessed from Douglas Way. The surrounding area is developed with single family residential units. The proposal is to for an addition to the front, rear, and side of the existing house, as well as a second story. So we have the existing residential unit. The proposed front, again, a new second story, a small addition to the front as well. We have our existing side view from the avenue and the proposed addition. And we have our view from Douglas Way looking to the interior side. And that is the proposal right there. And the project site is located in the RL8 zoning district, which is the low density residential zoning district. And as mentioned, the surrounding area is entirely zoned RL8. So it's an existing single family residential neighborhood. The proposal has been reviewed against the development standards in the RL8 zoning district and has found to be compliant. There are asterisks next to the front, rear, and street side yards that I will be discussing shortly, but all other development standards are complied with. For our setbacks, first off, I'm going to start off with our definition of a corner lot. Per zoning, when we have a corner lot, the street frontage with the less width is what is considered the front yard. So here we have Holly Avenue with 65 feet wide and Douglas Way with 74 feet wide, length. So in this scenario, per zoning, Holly Avenue would be considered the front yard and Douglas Way would be considered the street side. The applicant has submitted a request for a minor use permit to switch the two sides so that Douglas Way would be considered the front and Holly Avenue would be considered the street side. Staff would like to note that due to the layout of the existing single family dwelling unit, whose front is oriented toward Douglas Way and the desired design aesthetic for the addition, that staff does support this request. In regards to setbacks, there are some existing substandard setbacks on the site when we consider Douglas Way as the front and Holly Avenue as the side. The existing front yard is about 13 feet setback from property line, where 15 feet would otherwise be required. For the existing street side yard, it's a 7.4 foot setback, where 10 foot is the requirement. And the rear yard is 7.5 feet, where 20 feet would be required. So the proposed addition on the first floor, those areas are highlighted with blue walls, are slightly to the front and to the rear, and it is extending the substandard front yard and rear yard. Pursuant to the zoning code, this is allowed as long as it's on the ground level only and by no more than 50% of the existing wall length. So you could see the existing wall length at the front is about 19 feet 4 inches. And the addition's 19 feet. The existing rear wall length is 26 feet 4 inches. And it is 17 feet 1 inch, which is less than 50%. So per zoning, this would be allowed to continue the existing substandard setbacks. Staff would like to note that the proposed second story does comply with all required setbacks. So there is no special request for that. As part of the proposal, the applicant is proposing some new fencing along Holly Avenue and Douglas Way into the interior side yard and rear yard, and those are highlighted with the blue lines, and the red lines indicate the location of the setbacks. So as you can see, part of the Douglas Way fencing would be within the front setback, and the entirety of the Holly Avenue fencing would be within the street side setback. So for Holly Avenue, what is proposed is a maximum 4 foot fence height. It's a combination of fencing and retaining wall. Staff would like to note that the current zoning code requires or only allows a maximum 3 foot fence height within a street side yard or a front yard. However, a recent zoning code update has been approved by the City Council and adopted and will become effective on November 26th of this year, so in about 10 days. And that increases the maximum height for fences within the street side and front yards to 4 feet. And so staff feels comfortable with this proposal as it will comply with the new zoning code, and building permits wouldn't be issued until after the new zoning code becomes effective anyways. And there we go. It's going to be a maximum of 4 feet. Sorry about that. For the Douglas Way fencing. As you can see, there is a portion again that encroaches into what would be considered the front yard. The applicant is proposing a 6-foot tall maximum. Again, I mentioned 4 feet maximum is what would be allowed per the new zoning code that's going to become effective in a couple weeks. However, pursuant to zoning, the applicant can request a minor use permit to increase fence height within the front yard. Their request is to increase it by 2 feet, and the 2 feet would be 50% transparent, which allows it to qualify for the minor use permit. So there would be smaller slat widths and equal gapping widths compared to the slats to allow for the 50% transparency. Also, this is the only portion of the lot that is really usable as the rear yard and private open space for the residents. And so staff supports this request. The design was reviewed by the design review board at 2 of their meetings. At the February 15th, 2022 meeting, the design review board requested some site planning and design revisions that included minor changes to help the modern design of the residential unit better fit in with the surrounding neighborhood, reconsidering that there was a clear glass element for the roof deck here that was initially proposed, and also a redesign of the landscaping plan to incorporate low water tree species and taller green elements. And then just some additional clarification was requested on the transition of the proposed materials, as well as a grading and drainage plan. And so the applicant provided revised plans in response to the DRB comments, and the revised plans and design were reviewed by the design review board on September 20th. And the board had a positive reception to the redesign and found the project to be an improved architectural addition to the existing residence on site, and they supported the design and recommended approval of the project, with one comment regarding the recommended size of the street trees to be planted on site, and that has been included as a condition of approval. Staff would just like to note that this project is considered qualifies for a CEQA exemption under section 15301 class 1. It is an existing facility, and the proposed addition is relatively minor in size and within an area that's already developed and has access to utilities. So based on staff's review of the project, staff would like to recommend that the zoning administrator determine that the project is exempt from CEQA and approve the requested design review and minor use permits for the project. And that concludes staff's presentation.
Great, thank you very much, Stephanie. I am going to open the public hearing and ask if the applicant would like to introduce themselves and provide any more information about this project.
I could go first. I'm John Aldrich, the landscape architect, and we did participate in the design review hearing and listened to their comments and changed both the fences and the plants in response to their requests.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm Charles Chen from HC Design, one of the designers for this project. I don't have anything to add on for the presentation. I think Stephanie is being very detailed for all the elements. So I think we're open to, any public comments.
Great, thank you. Are there any other items that the applicant wishes to present? Nope, seeing none, I am going to ask if there are any members of the public who are in attendance. And if so, if there's any public comment. I'm not seeing any hands raised. Stephanie or Kelsey, have we received any emails or communication from members of the public on this item?
No public comments have been received.
Great, thank you. No public comments received. Okay, with that, I am going to close the public hearing. I do have a question for staff, which is just to confirm that this item was noticed in the correct manner. Great, thank you. Stephanie has confirmed that it was
Yes.
noticed. Great. And with that, I don't think I have any other questions for staff or the applicant. This has been a very thorough presentation and staff report. I know that the design review board reviewed this project twice and definitely recommended approval at their second meeting. And with that, I think I have enough information to provide a decision today. So I am going to approve this project. I am going to make a determination that the project is exempt from CEQA and approve the request for the minor use permit and for the design review permit for this proposed project at 1200 Douglas Way. So with that, we will follow up with a notice of action, which we will send to the applicant. And congratulations, it looks like a great project. The planning division really likes the look of it, and we think it will help really improve the look of the home. So please let us know if you have any questions for planning. And with that, if there are any questions, please let us know now, or you can follow up with Stephanie or with me after the meeting. And if there are no questions, I am going to stop the recording.